Hey mates, welcome to the Hitout. I'm your host, Phoenix Trinidad, and if you are new here, this is Zero Hangers weekly AFL podcast. And on this episode, all the fallout from round 23. What happens if Freo miss finals again? They might miss again, and should Geelong play a final at home? Absolutely. So, lots to talk about. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. So let's get into it. Here we are, Phoenix Trinidad and Aidan Cellini.
Hello, how we going?
Yeah, not too bad. Just us two, mate.
Yeah, it feels a bit lonely. A bit more room.
Yeah. The spacing in the new set.
New set.
You know where I went on the weekend, by the way, just because I did the Italian accent. Have you been to La Manna, the supermarket? The massive Italian supermarket in Essendon?
No, not the Essendon one, no.
Oh, okay.
No, I've heard good things.
It's so big.
Yeah?
It's massive.
Well, what'd you get? Take me through it.
No, so you go in, right? It's in Essendon. Essendon is a weird place. I feel like, whatever. If you're from Essendon, it's fine. But as a suburb, it's just the vibes for me are just off.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because I live in Richmond, and it's quite a nice suburb.
Yeah.
And it's just footy. But like you go to Essendon, I don't understand anything about it or like what's there, what the vibe is.
Yeah.
But La Manna, beautiful.
Yeah.
Just you go in there and you could just live there and just live off samples. Because we went there, I tried some dips, I tried some wine. There was a guy.
It was wine.
Yeah, he just gave me a shot of a really nice, I think it was like a Merlot or something, or a Shiraz.
Okay.
And didn't ask for ID for some reason. But it was just awesome. And then you can go, you have, there was some fish that you could sample. It was just a big selection of Italian food. Ooh. This is nothing to do with football, but
I like it.
Yeah, it's really good. I recommend everyone go to La Manna. And because we saw a TikTok about it. And because you're Italian, it reminded me of it.
Hey, it works. I see where it came from.
Yeah. Anyway,
footy.
Oops. Crom and pies. Let's go back to this game.
Yeah.
First of all, did you like the quality of the game? I felt the intensity was there, but the game itself, I don't know.
That's what finals are going to be like this year.
It felt kind of sloppy, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it was just pure intensity.
Yeah, the conditions didn't help that fact. I think it was after, or maybe midway through the second quarter or early in the second, just after Adelaide kind of got that mini run on and they equalised the game. The heavens opened up. And, I mean, cold nights in Adelaide, even in Melbourne as well, the ground's already dewy and cold. So it's almost is a wet weather game, but then with the rain as well, kind of adds to that. But yeah, I think it was a good game. It was probably exactly what I expected to happen.
Yeah.
Collingwood responded in a way, but Adelaide probably just have a bit more grunt about them.
Were you expecting to win that one?
Collingwood, no.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But I think what Collingwood fans will be pleased of, and what maybe rival clubs will now look at, is they've returned to form, but now there's an urgency about them, which wasn't seen in the second half against Brisbane. Against Hawthorn, it was absent. Whereas this week, backs against the walls, top four still in the mix. They had to respond and do something, and they did, and probably realistically should have won. But I think it just shows where Adelaide's at.
Yeah.
Not to say that Collingwood is better than them at all, but what Adelaide had to endure, plus 34 inside 50s in favour of Collingwood, which I think is the second highest recording to be in a defeat.
Yeah.
I think the highest was plus 36, which just shows, again, as I said, Adelaide's defence and their structure and their system is standing up in these tight games. Obviously, we know how well they can score, how well they can win, but when it comes to a finals-like game, which this was, they've proven that they can still get the chocolates.
Yeah. Shout out to Adelaide's defence, because I've heard them. I can't remember who was calling them a no-name defence or whatever.
I think a few people have.
Yeah,
I might have.
Because it was the funny thing is, I was like, they are not a no-name defence at this point. They have so many good players back there. But off the top of my head, I still can't actually name any of the players. I know it was Worrell and whatever back there, but they were awesome.
Well, I think the majority of them haven't played over 100 games.
Yeah.
So I know Brodie Smith, I think, has come in and out of the side. I think Rory Laird was out through suspension, but they're the two veterans. And even Wayne Miller as well. He's played a fair few games.
Yeah.
Or been in the system for quite a while. But, the Worrells, the Keens, the Max Marcolani, who's injured at the moment, but should come back for the finals.
Yeah.
He's obviously quite young too. Hugh Bond has only come to the side recently, consistently for the last few weeks or months. So, yeah, it is fair to say the no names, but I think they thrive off that. They just go about their business. And I think Saturday's game proved that with their backs against the wall and Collingwood peppering them with inside 50s and pressure, that they just do what they need to do, both on the ground and in the air. So quite exciting for a Crom fan.
I think Collingwood also, they are much more of a... I like them as a vibe when their backs against the wall, like you were saying. Like when they're on top, the world is just so much darker. And I hate that vibe. I actually find Collingwood a lot more likable when they're scrappy, even though they didn't win or anything. But like they're fighting with a bit more spirit rather than being the top dogs, punching down. I much prefer them as this scrappy thing. Because they lost as well, I much prefer them when they're losing. But I find them more interesting and more fun to watch when they're backs against the wall, to be honest.
Well, I mean, I think, as I said, from a Collingwood perspective, that's exactly what you wanted to see, regardless of the result, because you don't want to be going into September, kind of playing like you did against Hawthorn.
Yeah, because they were just so flat the past couple of weeks, and it is good to see. I really want to know what because Fly was like in this press conference, was it last week after the Hawthorn game?
Hawthorn,
was the
just
most animated I think I've ever seen, and like the angriest I think I've ever seen him in a presser.
Yeah.
And you could tell that he was barely talking to the media in that presser. He was talking directly to his players and the supporter base as well. And it showed on that Saturday night game. So we should probably talk about this Rankine story. So can you give me the lowdown on that this broke last night, I think?
Last night and early this morning. So it's my understanding that he said things that he shouldn't, which the AFL has consistently stamped out throughout the year. So if you take your mind back to, Jeremy Finlayson, Will Powell from the Suns, Jack Graham semi-recently, Lance Collyer from St Kilda, and even Riek Andrew, one of the Swans draftees. They've all copped suspensions at varying lengths throughout the season based off homophobic slurs, which is clearly not tolerated on the ground towards other players and obviously umpires as well. But so Rankine is being currently investigated. Now, if obviously he's deemed guilty of the offence, he could potentially miss Adelaide's entire final series. Now, if it's self-reported, the AFL seem to give a bit of a more lenient look or outlook in terms of the punishment. So we saw Jack Graham and Jeremy Finlayson receive, I guess, lesser or reduced amount of weeks. So they both got 3 and 4. But St Kilda's Lance Collyer
because they self-reported.
Yeah, so there's kind of a, if you own up to your mistake, so to speak, you are kind of not hit as hard with the suspensions, whereas Lance Collyer got 6 weeks for his, I guess, slur toward an opposition player.
So do we know if Rankine self-reported or not?
That's still being investigated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's still being worked through at the moment, which does throw a big spanner into Adelaide season. Now, I know I'm not trying to detract from what was said, and obviously we're not going to condone that, but I guess maybe from a football perspective, that could really turn their season upside down, because we saw how much focus not only Collingwood but other opposition clubs put into him because of what he can do on the field. And he has these moments of brilliance, which in a final, that wins you flags. Yeah. But if he's not there, and Joshua Shelley's still come back from injury, there's a lot of that star power, that young star power, especially in the forward line, that they could be missing for essentially their first final series in 8 years. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's from a football perspective, yes, that is unfortunate for Adelaide if he is found, if he is going to miss weeks. But again, how many times do we have to see this play out? It's so easy not to be homophobic, not to be racist. And it's just there's a reason that there has been no current or past player come out in the AFL, from an AFL player. And we have this every time something like this happens. And it's just super disappointing, especially for Izak Rankine, who is now essentially one of the players that's the face of the game as well.
Yeah.
And if he's, found guilty or whatever, and the fact that he didn't self-report, it's really disappointing. Yeah. And I think we should just put that out there as well. So, I mean,
because this, in reality, what I would like to think, the AFL's not made examples of. So you had Finlayson at 3. They've kind of consistently, ever so slightly increased the punishment. So there's a precedent being set, which, again, as we understand, if Rankine is then found guilty, it should be a minimum 4 or 5 weeks, depending on if it's self-reported, and maybe even the contents of what was actually said.
Yeah.
But that's the baseline punishment, which again, turning it back to a football perspective, that is almost Adelaide's entire season. Now, barring, I mean, they've locked in a top 2 spot or top and 2 finals. So unless they lose that first final and play all 4 weeks of September, that's the only way Rankine should be able to play or be available to play. But in reality, he probably deserves to miss based on what we know so far.
And I'm going to be so mad if he is found guilty and the AFL find a way to let him play finals, because I just, you just know that's something in their playbook.
Because it's happened before. And they've set a precedent of being absolutely spineless when it comes to this sort of thing. And it's just going to be really disappointing. It's already pretty disappointing, but if they find a way to let him play if he's found guilty, I'm going to be on this podcast very loudly railing against the AFL, even more than I normally do. So, so very disappointing if that, but there's still obviously a lot to play out in that story. There's not, as of recording, there's nothing confirmed, I guess. Yeah. All right. Should we move on? Yeah.
Okay. Brisbane.
Huge.
Domination.
Yeah.
Freo, my God. They're coming back to the last game of the round again.
They've done this a few times. It's very familiar territory for them. And it's against another team, as we know, the Bulldogs at Marvel Stadium next week, or in the coming weekend, where both will be playing off for that last spot in the 8. So it's one that's going to be make for a great game. But just obviously going back to Friday night, that was utterly disappointing for Freo. 11 of the last 12, knocked off so many contenders on their way. And Brisbane, kind of like Collingwood, where back against the wall, do they make top 4? Everyone's saying they're shot now. They've got injuries on their back line. There's so many things going against them. And funnily enough, like they did last year, they've somehow managed to get a win. And not only a win, just prove to everyone again that for the last 6 years, and including this year, that they're well and truly in the running and they're more than capable of going back to back like they did 2 decades ago.
Well, the difference between these two teams in the past couple of years is that Brisbane know how to win these games where they are back against the wall. Freo just don't. That being said, they're going, if they miss finals, they're going to be missing finals with 15 games won or something.
I believe,
that's so sad.
So Fremantle, 15 wins.
Yeah. I don't know if we've ever seen that in the
not that much.
18 game.
So
18 team.
Well, one that assists that as well is that extra game. So you've got now 23 games as opposed to the 22. Yeah. But in saying that, there is a legitimacy in it hasn't been this close and teams been performed that well in terms of 14 wins or 15 wins in a year, which it looks like this could be the case, that they've actually missed September. 15 wins normally almost secures you a top 4 spot. Yeah. Maybe 4th or maybe a home final in 5th, but to miss all completely is...
The number used to be 13 or 12 to make finals.
That's what... And I mean, even Collingwood coach Craig McRae said early in the year, it's we're looking at 15 wins because he's obviously, on that concept of just we're here to qualify. And that's what teams looked at this year because just the way the season was panning out. And obviously there was a bit of a divide in terms of maybe I'll include Sydney, the top 10 and the bottom 8, that you had to obviously knock them off and had to beat a handful of teams around your place on the ladder. So 15 was the number. Yeah.
This is also why whenever somebody brings up the idea of a wildcard round, I'm just shut up. The season, we've essentially brought a wildcard round into the regular season anyway.
Yeah.
We don't need the season to end and then for Freo to play again for a chance to get back into the finals or whatever. Yeah. Their next game, I don't know who they play next week. We'll talk about it later, but that is essentially a final now.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be. You don't need another wildcardy thing.
Yeah, and then obviously the floating fixture allows that to build the hype. But if they were to consider, this is going a little bit off topic, to consider the wildcard, it would have to reduce the season to a point where it allows teams to actually bunch up.
Yeah, but then that just makes it the same thing.
Yeah, but if you've got 23 games, there's more of a chance, just pure numbers, to spread out the ladder. Because the worst teams, the teams that aren't great, like North Melbourne, that continue to lose.
Yeah.
The teams that are great, like Geelong and Brisbane, even Adelaide this year, they will continue to beat up those teams. So if you reduce those games and almost to a point where maybe you can even go play one team each and then have a couple other games, which has been floated already, it reduces the amount of games. It also could increase the chances of a wildcard weekend because there's not as many games.
I think, here's an idea. I think if your season is written off, you should be allowed to not play.
Melbourne fans love that.
I want Melbourne to just put everyone on ice, go again next year.
They'd be able to go to Europe in summer instead of just the snow.
Last one on Freo. So I need to be updated and explained on the Justin Longmuir contract thing again. So can you explain that to me? So he's staff. Like he's
it's one of
essentially
those,
on a casual rate.
It's one. Well, it's a few words you probably could. It's one of those ongoing contracts. So it's just assumed he's coaching until he's told one day that he's not, as opposed to he's got a set amount of years. So just say, Chris Fagan, he's signed until the end of, I think, 2027 or 2028.
Right.
So then by then they have to renew a contract or, part ways, shake hands and go, this is great, move on. It is under the assumption, although again, it can happen anytime, that he is coaching until he's not coaching, as opposed to he's coaching to the end of a certain year, and then they have to renew a contract or opt out of it.
Right.
It's just under an assumption. But
so
again,
it's not it's like it's not a contract. It's essentially
it's ongoing. So teachers in their
so
profession,
he get paid week to week? Like what is he?
Okay, that's a great question.
Yeah, what is his payday like?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
That part I actually don't know.
You're a journo, mate. You're supposed to know these things.
Yeah, well that part, it's the intricacies of the contract itself.
Yeah.
Not many people would know. But in terms of what externally most of the people in my position do know, it's just assumed that he's going to coach until they say, nah, you're done. Now, again, I don't think, and when it happened, it didn't really make a difference. It doesn't change anything, but it was meant to essentially shoo away any media scrutiny. As opposed to he gets to the end of this year, hear me out, he gets to the end of this year and he has to get a new contract, and then it's assessed, well, did he do enough to win a new contract or not? This, in their eyes, would be to go, okay, he's our coach, guys, media, AFL world, leave him alone, because he's our coach until we say he's not our coach. So he could have bottomed out, and yes, the pressure still would have come. And yes, it is all just word jargon. So it's just because I still don't really get how this is different to a regular coaching contract. It's arguably it wouldn't be. It is just the terminology that's used, and I believe it's to assist the media scrutiny that he's heaped the last few years, because especially since they made the finals in 22. The last 2 years, and especially last year, they bottomed. They missed the final side by losing the last month of football. After being third, there's been a heap of pressure that have come for him. My belief would be that this would try reduce or diminish a lot of that by saying he's our guy, leave him alone, because an ordinary coaching contract would suggest that you go to a certain year until it's either increased or you're asked to leave.
Okay.
This essentially insists that he's our guy until he's not. So there's no year, it's indefinite.
Well, a week before Simon Goodwin got sacked, he said that he had the confidence of the board. Okay. It sounds like it's just a pay structure thing then.
Pay structure and just media jargon.
All right.
In my opinion.
Yeah, okay. Well, so then if Freo miss again, which is very possible to happen, what do you think? Do you think they stay with him? Because they feel like they're backing him.
Well, yeah,
then I don't understand.
Yeah, they're backing him, but I'll go back to our last point. If they miss the finals, but with 15 wins,
you can justify.
You can justify. Now, if they win 12 out of 23, like they have previous years, okay, your middle tier. 15 wins, as we've alluded to more from the not, probably gets you top 4.
So do you reckon if he's like, I got 15 wins, didn't make finals, do you reckon he likes being on an ongoing contract? Do you reckon if he's like, look, that wasn't enough to make finals, but I reckon that's good enough for like a 2-year contract, guys?
Well, I wonder if he actually came to them with this or if it was a mutual agreement. Again, I believe it is just terminology thrown around.
Yeah.
So essentially, like it's done with you just to confuse people. To be honest,
I'm very confused.
It's confused me a fair bit, but I think it's just more, aside from knowing the full detail of it, which I don't expect to, because again, I'm not part of the Fremantle Dockers, that it's more externally just viewed as, hey, this is our guy, leave him alone until we say he's not our guy.
Yeah.
But that's just not how it works.
Okay. They're weird in WA.
Yeah.
They just do things wrong.
There you go.
First. All right. GWS were pretty good, but I'm more disappointed in Gold Coast, to be honest, because I've been backing them all year. They're not. They're obviously, they're looking all right for finals, but they have a lot of pressure now on them for these last 2 games that they've got to play. So, what did you make of GWS and Gold Coast?
Well, yeah, I probably turn my attention more to the Giants. So their history against the Suns stacks up as both expansion clubs, which is the Expansion Cup. But it just proved to them that they can plug and play. So they had Hogan out, they had Stringer out, they've still got Josh Kelly out. And they've still got, guys like Harry Rowson coming in and kicking 4 goals. They've got all these players that are playing mainly in the VFL, but they can come in and play a role, which is why even if they finish 7th or 8th, they can still make a very decent run to the finals because they've got that experience, 1, but 2, they've got a great system that allows players to actually flourish under particular roles. Now, again, that doesn't mean they're going to win every game or beat everyone, but there's a level of consistency that they've built for many years, barring, I think, Adam Kingsley's first year, where they didn't obviously make finals. They bottomed out. But they've created a reliability about them in terms of how they play, in terms of what actually stacks up in September. So, obviously, if you look at every final that they've almost been participated in, there's no real blowouts. There's all been relatively close games. They know what to do in those type of games. And obviously, it comes down to moments, which any team can have. But as I said, it's more that consistency, whereas you look on the flip side, the Suns have, beaten up on teams. They smashed Coleman in the first half. They've previously beaten Brisbane, but then they do this. So there's that level of inconsistency that won't stack up in finals. Because if you don't show up on the day when it hits September, then you're going to be eliminated straight away. Whereas you know what you're going to get from the Giants week in, week out. And that doesn't mean they're going to win every game, but again, you know what to expect.
Yep. I've got nothing to add to that.
But I mean, you tipped the Suns to obviously make finals, top 4.
I tipped the Suns to lose the grand final.
Final. So where do you see them now? Does that change your prediction?
No, I think they're still fine. I don't think they're gonna make the. I reckon they'll maybe lose an elimination final. I think they'll scrape into finals.
Because
I don't know. It's because it's uncharted territory, really. Yeah. Like, I could see them also getting all the way to a grand. I don't think they're not going to win it. Yeah. But I can see it sort of going either way.
That's, the same argument can be made for Adelaide,
Yeah.
They're just riding this high, which is obviously seeing them lock up a top 2 spot from 15th last year and no finals in 8 years.
Yeah.
But they haven't played finals before. Only one is Tex Walker.
Yeah, but I think their profile is just stronger. Like, if you look at their list and their forward line and everything, it just stacks up better than like a Gold Coast, I think.
100%.
Like, Gold Coast feel younger.
Yeah.
And they feel more inexperienced, even though, both teams haven't really. I mean, there's still some players left over from the 2017 grand final
so
in the
Tex,
Adelaide team
Rory
that played.
Laird,
They've got premiership experience or grand final experience and finals experience in there.
Wasn't a good experience.
No, not at all. No.
But yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So I did see a thing earlier this week where I can't remember who. It might have been like Centra or something, where it was just suggesting they should bring back the power stance thing because like they have a really good shot this year, Adelaide. But I would love for them to like recapture that Power Ranger thing, but have it work.
Yeah.
Like, I reckon that'd be the most memeable thing that could happen this year.
Oh, absolutely. Even more so than it was 8 years ago? Imagine the memes now.
A bit of a redemption story for Tex.
Chiefs would have a field day.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Gold Coast, I think I just want to see. Port will be a really interesting one. We'll talk about them more in the preview, but once we see that Port game, then I'll give you my. Yeah.
But I think as it stands and what we expect to happen in the next week and a half, because obviously you got the Suns postponed match against the Bombers, so they should, in theory, beat Port, should beat Essendon. That could almost secure them a top 4th spot.
Yeah, they can finish top 4, right?
Yeah. So okay. I mean, you would assume top 2 is locked up. So you got Adelaide and North Melbourne.
Yep.
And Geelong and Richmond. So that's your top 2.
Yeah.
And then you got Brisbane and Collingwood and Hawthorn and the Giants are still chasing. So,
you got all those teams on 6.
Based on what we predict to be happening in terms of position of where that team is, which is Suns just outside the 8, but obviously probably should be in there versus Port and Essendon, which are much lower, beating them comfortably, that should almost lock them into a top 4 spot, which makes that Wednesday game against Essendon so interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Alrighty. Oh man. So Geelong have a top 2 spot.
Yep. Again.
Boring. just stop winning.
I marvel at what they do.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many people make out, they're doing something shifty. They're paying players under the table. They're buying farms. They're doing cotton on deals and all that. They might be.
They're not doing that.
They potentially could be. But if you actually look at their list and who's playing, there's some guys there that you wouldn't even know, but they've probably put some premiership players. Like Brad Close. Like Oishin Mullen.
Yeah.
Connor O'Sullivan. Yes, he was a first round pick, but they forced him to bide his time until they thought he was ready. Same as Sam De Koning. Shannon Neal, Possum Eyes, he's absolute superstar.
Yeah, they're like in isolation, those players are like, oh yeah, that's great. Like they came from nowhere, blah blah blah. But in the context of Geelong, it's just like, oh yeah, of course they just pick this dude like this James Podsiadly, whoever, nobody, and he just becomes a superstar from. Yeah.
That's what they do, and that's why I think there has to have a level of maturity in those who assess Geelong that aren't Geelong fans. It's tip your hats here.
I like, that's the thing. I have all the respect for Geelong, like Chris Scott. Maybe we should do this at the end of the year, but he's the best coach in the league. I think, like by a country mile.
Has been.
I don't think anybody is coaching or has coached better than Chris Scott in the past 10 years.
But he's also. And he's obviously had the ability with his length of tenure to change with the times.
Yeah.
But again, for him to have that longevity in the game, he has to change with the times. So it's, and it just proves how in tune he is.
If you look at the coaches with the longest stints, like how many of them actually did that? Not many, discernible changes in game style.
Yeah, because probably the modern era more so, especially the last 2 or 3 decades, there has been so many seismic shifts in terms of how the game's actually played, whereas maybe the Jock McHale's and the Mick Malthouses were kind of situated in an era that was predominantly dominated by only one particular style, which was quick kick forward, having an elite forward. Now, again, there was obviously some strategy behind that. That's not to say there wasn't back then, but I think like 5-10 years ago, it was all about the big type of midfielders, a bullock in midfield. Now it's about how many small forwards can you fit in your side that just causes chaos. And then it's gone back to now Adelaide trying to go back and revert back to dominant key forwards. So there's so many changes year in, year out, which I don't think back then was as consistent in terms of its change.
The only one I can think of is like Sheedy. Like I'm too young. I've never been able to say that. I'm too young to remember his early premiership, but then coming back in 2000. But that's still only 7 years separated, something like that.
93, 2000.
Yeah, and then Scott had it was almost 10 years or something, wasn't it?
Or 2011, 22.
Yeah. I didn't realize I was making a good point. So they're just gonna, but they have no finals at Cardinia,
which frustrates me.
I reckon that's again AFL bad. Just what are they doing down there?
So I do get if it's Collingwood, Geelong, which Geelong Collingwood just say, Geelong final, qualifying final. Sure, MCG. Although again, still stiff. But if you've got an interstate club, you got Gold Coast around the mark, you got the Giants around the mark, potentially Fremantle around the mark. It is possible and should be possible that they play there. So the Dockers, again, granted, Optus Stadium is 50,000+ people, but the Suns will play at People First. The Giants will play at NG, have played at NG. I mean, everyone remembers their prelim against the Dogs. They've had so many super finals there. And I understand, they don't have like a second home ground, so to speak. Maybe they've got Canberra, but it's not like the MCG. So, I would say Geelong, rightly so, should be upset if they, and it sounds like they're not going to, get a final against the interstate club at Cardinia Park.
I just think the game is so much better when you can pack out a stadium with majority single fan base. The energy is so much better and it's so much better for the game.
And it's rewarding the teams. Yeah. So I remember years ago, 2019, Geelong played Collingwood. Geelong finished first. Collingwood snuck into fourth just after they lost that grand final. Played at the MCG. Now it was 80,000, 90,000 there. Who do you reckon rocked up the most?
Yeah, exactly.
Now that you don't, there's no reward for finishing on top in that particular instance. Obviously, there's other aspects to it. But if Geelong would have finished second and they play Collingwood at the MCG third, that's no benefit to them. They might as well finish third or finish fourth. Rest players to, I'm not saying to tank, but you know what I mean. It's just it can reduce that incentive to go. Okay, well we're desperate to get a home final. Yeah, because for someone like Geelong, it's not.
Yeah, I agree. I think they should get all the home finals, but I because I know that Chris Scott wants obviously he won some finals and stuff. But I'm unsure whether the club itself, because they make more money if they go to the G, if they play the finals at the G, right? Or is it
Probably get more ticket sales.
Yeah, you get more ticket
in
sales
that
and
se-
everything.
in
So
that
I understand
sense.
from that point, but
I think if I'm Geelong and I was one of the power brokers there, if I had to weigh those two things up, either more money or, probably a greater chance to win, because
Yeah.
it seems like no one can win, give or take, at Cardinia Park, I would take playing at GMHBA.
yeah, absolutely. Cool. Awards?
Yeah. I got a good one.
Yeah?
Kind of led into it a little bit. So a bit of controversy with Adelaide Collingwood game. 57 seconds to go. But I think it's kind of a, I wouldn't say cute award. So the Matthew Scarlett Award goes to Riley Thilthorpe
Nice.
for the toe poke.
Yeah.
Don't know what he was thinking, but it worked
Yeah.
because, like Scarlett did one in the game in the grand final. Different setting, I understand. Thilthorpe wasted time deliberately, should have been penalised. And again, that's not the difference maker. I'm one of those fans, that you don't blame it on one moment at the end of the game. That's the determinant. There's, 3.5 other quarters to obviously create the result. But when I saw that, I was bewildered. And I think the umpires were as well. They just didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So they just got the ball and quickly throw it in because, you don't want to obviously, especially in Adelaide, you would hate to feel the Adelaide fans coming at you at that point in the game, paying a free kick against. But in terms of the award, the Matthew Scarlett Toe Poke Award goes to Riley Thilthorpe.
Love it. Yeah, very well awarded. I haven't thought of a name for this one, but my award is going to Ash Centra for the effect that she's had
already.
One game, and it's just from 2-second clip of her warming up, bouncing, but it's just. I reckon it's awesome because I think,
cool.
We've been hearing a lot of, non-stop about Ash Centra if you're into the dub, and then Collingwood didn't have a great first game, but that was awesome. And to see all the men's players try and emulate it, there's a bunch of compilation clips of everybody trying to cut it together. Hate how much it's making me like Collingwood again, because it's just there's everything they do.
Yeah.
Even when they're likable, I'm just like, God damn it! Why are you making me like them? Do we need a name for it? Ash Centra,
I was going to say the ACA.
ACA.
Ash Centra.
Handles Award. Kyrie Irving Award.
Yeah,
goes
I like
to
that.
Ash Centra.
And he was born in Melbourne, wasn't he? So it makes
Sorry?
sense.
Yeah. I mean, there's something there.
It happened in Melbourne. But
There's something there.
I think it's one of those moments, again, it does sound cheesy, and this could be extrapolated, but a moment like that where, someone's so hyped about in the women's game, and then you see the men follow suit. And again, it's just a simple, meme or short clip, but this is kind of a turning point, and not just a turning point that hasn't happened in the past, but again, it just sees where the game's going to go.
Yeah.
And it's just already building. Everyone's speaking about it. We're speaking about our Centra.
Yeah.
She's spoken about it at length. And it's just going to have more and more of these types of women coming through, W, which is just going to continually build the game. And it's going to get bigger quicker because of someone like this.
Well, that's the exciting thing about the crop coming through at the moment. I think Marnie Vinyl was speaking about this on ABC, is that the girls that are coming through now are the girls that haven't stopped playing. So all the previous AFLW, the pioneering players, they're all from others codes, or they had to stop playing at 16 or whatever.
Yeah.
So now you're getting your Ash Centras that just have really good skills and have been playing since they haven't had to stop. And I reckon that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I like the unity that I like when both the men's and the women's team, they do their things where they train together and all that kind of thing.
It's
and
awesome.
they're just, it's unified.
And it's hopefully as the AFLW increases I would love to see a world where they're kind of a curtain raiser for one another. I don't know how logistically that would work, but again, because it's a one club thing, you go see Collingwood, you go see Melbourne, as opposed to, and obviously understand the seasons are, in different time spans or different periods at the moment, but hopefully maybe one day it gets to that point.
Yeah. I think we should also give a shout out. One award I was thinking about giving out. I don't know. I didn't have a name for it either, but Harry Sheezel.
Oh,
whew.
54.
54?
Studio 54.
Damn.
I saw that.
So Studio 54.
I know, there's a disco studio back in the day, I think.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I grew up in Morwell. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I grew up in this era, so I don't know either. But huge. Equals the record. I mean, North and his teammates should have known. Just give him the ball. Or do
Well,
you
he
think-
had one, and then
Morris Real again.
Morris Real absolutely smacked him.
trademark.
But again, though, I don't think Sheezel hasn't had that good of a year this year. I mean, he's been playing around different positions, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they just reminded me that he's like really good.
It's just it's obviously overshadowed by how good his year was last year.
Yeah.
And obviously now there's an expectation, there's a benchmark that he has to do that every year, otherwise he's failed,
Yeah.
which is just unfortunate in terms of how we view things as an industry. But he obviously has been thrown around this year a lot. North have struggled, especially against the weight of expectations. They only won 5 games this year and a draw. But I guess a nice little individual nod to him. But I love I want to say loved, but I'm going to say loved. The post-game interview where I have to thank my teammates for, handing me the ball. So, no, you got the ball.
Yeah.
You can be somewhat...
Mate, you play for North.
Exactly, It's like,
you were doing all the work.
Okay, owe it to my teammates for, helping me throughout the week and try... No, mate, you got 54. Just take it, shut up, be a bit selfish for a moment and then move on.
Yeah.
But I understand he's obviously that type of guy.
But that's why, everyone loves him as well because
exactly.
he's really humble and, so shout out to Sheez.
Yes.
All right, let's get it to it. Last round, technically.
24 plus 0.5.
24.5, round 24.5 preview.
Well, we've got obviously that postponed game.
Yeah.
That's, a week and a half away, which...
I actually haven't looked at the figure. I'm looking at it now. Oh, God.
Well, in theory, we've got some big clashes, but one piece of fixturing I should make note of. So you got Essendon and Carlton this Thursday MCG. So that's meant to be blockbuster. Yes, admittedly, both teams are out of the finals, but in theory, that should attract, 60,000 plus, you'd think, especially last game of the year. But Channel 7 has actually dropped them from their broadcast, which I know has already been made light of for Brisbane Hawthorn on the Sunday.
Yep.
I mean, they did the fixturing because they leave the last round to quite late in the year, particularly the last round. Obviously, the last 6 weeks, they obviously leave floating as well. They've had a decent Sunday clash. So all those games, we'll go quickly back to Sunday. So we've got the Giants and Saints. Now, they sometimes can be a bit of a slip-up, but the Giants you'd expect to win them. And you've got the Dogs and the Dockers. So winner of that makes the 8.
Yep.
And then to finish off Sunday, you've got the Lions and Hawks. So massive day of football, both on Channel 7, obviously at Fox as well. But 7 of covering Dogs and Dockers, and then News, boring, and then Lions Hawks.
Yeah.
Which is what they wanted. So they kind of wanted, isn't like the EPL like that? They put all the games on the one day right at the end at the same time. And this is kind of the AFL equivalent where they have the last games of the round where everyone focuses on that have so much repercussions in terms of their results, kind of all placed among each other or definitely on the same day.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think they've done okay with the floating fixture and stuff this year. But just quite what you just mentioned the Saints there. I just have to point out they are on the worst streak ever of winning games, but it's so bad at the same time.
Well. So that's again they've done it a couple of years in a row now. They played the last
year
6 to 8 weeks really well. They knock off a contender here and there. I think they beat Sydney almost beat Sydney last year when they were running hot as well, and they're doing the same thing this year. And it just puts them back into the middle of the pack. Now, obviously, you don't want to see them just drop games and tank, but maybe so a few of the young guys more games. Maybe they are doing that and they're just playing quite good football.
Yeah. I would love it if Ross is genuinely trying to tank, but Nas and everyone is just so good that it's just like, come on, man.
Well, if Nas keeps winning and playing like he does, he's just going to keep increasing his pay packet. So, I mean, from an individual perspective, he's doing himself favours, but maybe not for the Saints.
Oh,
but then, then you've got a double-headed on Friday, Pies Demons. Historically,
you going to that?
Are you going to that?
Thankfully, I'm going to be at a Bucks do, so I don't have to pay attention to it because I reckon it could go either way. I would love to win that, and just to make your life a little bit more difficult. Not you personally,
I was going to say.
Just Collingwood. But I know how that's going to turn out.
Well, I mean, from a Collingwood perspective, they need to win and win big to lock in a double chance. Because even if they win, there's still a chance they could slip out of the top 4.
Yeah.
So if they boost their percentage, they might actually shoo away both Hawthorn if they beat the Lions and the Suns, who have 2 games to go.
Did you see the Melbourne Hawthorn game?
I saw the score.
You're going to win big.
Okay.
We're so bad.
Well, Sure. And then again, the other second half of Friday night's fixture is Port and Gold Coast. Now, we know what Port is. So end of the Ken Hinkley era and Travis Boak era. So those two essentially ran that club and took it from its knees to premiership contention for a few years there. Obviously, Travis Boak retiring, announcing that last year, and we know about Ken Hinkley's, moving on from Alberton there. So he's put out one final wish that, to do it for Trav. And I wouldn't be surprised if Port especially in front of the home crowd, they actually show up to play. Now, obviously, Gold Coast have other ideas, and they're still, they're technically outside the 8 at the moment, so they need to keep winning, which you expect them to do. But wouldn't surprise me if you get a bit of a storied response from Port.
I have a feeling in my stomach that Port are gonna come really hard in this game. They're gonna absolutely smash the Suns.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You had to hit first. So you've gone from Suns top 4, losing granny to now.
I just have a feeling they're or it's going to go the complete other direction.
I really don't want it to. I mean,
because do you remember Paul Roos's last game that he coached?
Sydney.
And we had to go.
Oh, Melbourne.
Yeah, Melbourne played in at Cardinia. We got done
boy.
by 120 points or something like that.
Oh, was that? Yeah.
Roos's last game, that he
I
coached,
recall that,
because and it's the same thing. It's taking a. I mean, Port are playing it at home, luckily, but the handover of the succession
plan,
thing. But yeah, it could be. I think it could just end really badly for either team there. But I don't know. Sun should win.
But that is again a slip up type game. So like the Giants and the Saints, everyone assumes them to win, but because they've got their eyes set on what we're going to do in September, how do we do plan for that? And don't get me wrong, the Suns still have another game to prep for 5 days later. So
that's crazy,
dude. So there's a lot of thinking behind just go out, win the game. There's a lot of machinations that they actually need to go through.
Well, Essendon also need to do that as well.
And do that. And then as you chucked in the run sheet, Saturday boring.
Yeah.
Saturday snooze. So you got first v 16th, second v 17th, and 10th v 18th. So you'd assume all the away sides, that is Adelaide, Geelong, and Sydney, notch up wins against the bottom 3 sides on Saturday.
There aren't any that there's nothing there that you could even really be that much of a banana peel game. Maybe,
Well, the Saints won.
Yeah, maybe GWS. Yeah, I can see Saints just winning that just because they're annoying.
That's the thing. That doesn't mean not much to them. They lose a draft pick or go further down the order if they,
They should just tank. It's so much easier. Just
how'd that work out for Melbourne?
Hey, we won a premiership. Technically,
technically
it worked out pretty well.
Okay, it's not a bad shout.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. I think that's it.
That's it.
Yeah. What do we got going on? We'll probably do our All Australian team at some point next week or the week after.
Yeah. I think once the round the season kind of comes to it.
Yeah, we got heaps of plans. Can't tell you exactly what they are right now, but we got heaps of plans. So subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you next week.